What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Uh, we got quite a bit going on here tonight. I was looking at my schedule or my calendar here, and I'm looking at it and talking to my buddies, and he's like, "Yeah, the NFL draft is tonight. The Pistons are playing tonight." And then I saw like a few other people were doing streams, so there's a lot going on tonight. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I'm excited because we got some really interesting guests tonight. We're going to run them each through a blind. We've got a few moving parts. We've got two guests with two different scheduling issues. So we're going to coordinate it the best that we can, make this work. But this will sort of be almost in two shifts. So stay with us, and you'll see what we're talking about here. We've got some cool giveaways tonight. The main giveaway is going to be a mystery bottle, and this is pretty cool. So it just so happened that Evernorth dropped, I think, 3 different single barrels at one of the local shops here in Shelby Township. So on my way home today, I stopped and picked one up for the stream here tonight. And Sean was actually there signing bottles. So tonight's giveaway is going to be an Evernorth single barrel rye. And this is one of the Sagamore 52% ryes that I don't know if you've had any of these yet, but they're fantastic. It's got a 6-year age statement. This one comes in at 66%, so 132 proof, which is the highest proofed one of these that I've seen so far. So I'm guessing this is going to be something special. And it's also got Sean's autograph on it. So if you like Sean, you like the Junkies, you like Evernorth, that's a cool keepsake. So somebody's going to get a cool bottle tonight. I am also going to do a second and a third prize. Second will be the same flight that our first guest is going to be drinking through. And then the third prize will be the flight that the second guest is drinking through. So first prize bottle, second prize flight, third prize flight. I'll put the banner up here in just a moment so you know what we're talking about. Let's get that going. All right. So our first guest is it's got to be one of the fastest growing whiskey tube channels that I've seen here. I think he's been at it about 1.5 years. And I checked his subscriber count. He was pushing like 8,000 or 9,000. Puts out fantastic content, and it's not just the same type of content all the time. He's got reviews. He's got like educational videos from time to time. Does the vlogging videos, the hunt videos, just a little bit of everything. And he's just really good at this. And we followed each other on Instagram for a bit, so I talked to him a little bit back and forth. Just seems like a really good dude. So I'm happy to have him on the stream tonight as a guest. And I am talking about Brandon from Whiskey Weather. There he is, the man.
I appreciate the warm welcome. Those are kind words, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you've really had, a good bit of momentum here, like for the last, year or so. You really put in the work to make the channel grow on your side, and it's pretty awesome to watch.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a trial and error kind of deal. I started this channel September of 2023.
Hmm?
I was part of a different channel that was a bourbon and baseball podcast for about 1 year before that, which was kind of difficult. And that's where I learned what to do and what not to do. So
Okay.
I've really thrown a lot into this over the last, I'd say, 6 to 8 months. And it's gotten some pretty good results the last couple of months.
Yeah. And you're everywhere. And I mean that in a good way. Like, how to use all of the social media. You got a really good presence on Facebook. I saw a huge Instagram following. Have you been on Instagram for like a long time, or?
Instagram's where Whiskey Weather originated.
Okay.
So the weather portion, for those of you who are new to me, I'm a TV meteorologist. So I am a legit weatherman, as they would say. And I was in Huntsville, Alabama from 17 to 22. And now it's established in 22, is my logo would say, because that's when the first Whiskey Weather channel began. But I was posting about whiskey on my professional account for about 2 or 3 years before I realized I probably shouldn't be posting about whiskey in the Bible Belt, because a lot of my viewers were like, he's sinning, he's drinking. So I was like, I'm just going to create something way different. And so Instagram was the beginning, and that didn't really take off until probably last January. I guess the post that like put me on the map in last January, I had like 5,000 followers, and then boom, it was like 10,000. I think I just hit 25 the other day. So it was like Buffalo Trace Alternatives, which got a lot of hate, but also got a lot of love. So
I got a lot of clicks
for the hate and the love. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of jerks out there.
I think where I first saw you was probably about that same time. You were a guest on My Bourbon Journey on Scott's stream.
Yeah, that was early last year, like February last year, I think.
Yeah, and for those of you that follow Scott, every so often he'll do a stream where he'll bring on, somebody that's new or somebody maybe that he hasn't heard of, and just kind of brings them on, gives them a platform, and kind of gets everybody to gets them familiar with their channel. So that's how I started following Whiskey Weather.
Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, and and appreciate Scott. One,
Yeah.
For doing that kind of thing for people that are just kind of getting in, because I look at Scott and it's kind of like one of the OGs of Whiskey Tube. So yeah, to kind of have him put that out there for a lot of us. It's just I think that's kind of what makes this community go around, is doing stuff like that. In Scott's
sure.
also that guy, kind of bringing people together.
Yeah, I was on that with Ty the Bourbon guy, if I remember right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say hi to a few people here in chat, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do with Brandon here. Let's see. I think Randall Erickson, you were first again, my man. So cheers to you. Randall says, looking forward to the live stream. Got my Lexington care package yesterday, and I think what you were referring to specifically is that Green River weeded bourbon. Boy, is that good. And you know what, Randall? Yeah, I've got that one right here. I think it came in yesterday. So I'm going to crack that and sip that first here tonight. Speaking of which, Top Jimmy is in the house. Top Jimmy may or may not have helped me secure some of these. So appreciate you, Jimmy. What's going on, my friend? Travis Robeson is here.
He's going everywhere. On, Travis?
Roger Reese is here. What's going on, Roger? Josh Fritzy. What's going on, my man? All right, Henry Hickey. I'm not sure I'm familiar with the name. So welcome to the stream. Thanks for dropping in and hanging out with us for a bit. Kelsey Dime is here. What's going on, Kelsey? Bourbon Dan the man, Michigan guy. So Dan, if you hear anything interesting going on with the draft as we're kind of going through this, feel free to post it, because I'm not really following the draft tonight. Same goes with you, Tim Cornet. Cheers watching Tom the Pistons and the draft. So Tim, you've got your hands on all the buttons here. So I'll be relying on you if there's anything interesting going on with either. Go ahead and post it up, because I'm not really paying attention to either. And Tim, you can relate to this. For the longest time, probably for 30 or 40 years, the NFL draft has been the Lions Super Bowl. But this year and last year, I haven't really paid a lot of attention to the draft, because we're actually decent and we're trying to get to a real Super Bowl and not just do well in a draft. So, Tim, anything going on? Let me know, buddy. Gary Franchi's in the house. What is going on, my friend? Sugar Kitty, meow. Right. Danny Lopez, what's going on, buddy? Here. About to start bedtime and then Uber. Oh, you got a lot going on, my friend. Jack Weaver, what's going on? Hey, is that the weather boy? Uh, is that a friend of yours?
Jack is my behind the scenes guy usually.
Okay.
So
I was going to ask you, do you do all of your shooting and editing and all that on your own? And
I do all the shooting and editing. And then stream wise, Jack and my guy Ajay have been helping me with the behind the scenes stream work. But all the shooting, all the editing, all the posting currently is me. So
okay, so answer me this if you can.
yeah,
In a given day, how much time would you say you're devoting to your channel or your brand?
lately it's been 3 to 4 hours. It used to be about 1 to 2 hours maybe a day. On my days off, sometimes 4 to 5. Thursdays and Fridays are my days off. I try to shoot. So I'm recently divorced. Well, I guess not recently. It's been about a year and a half now. So I am a single dad some nights.
Mhm.
And when I have my daughter, I actually try to record after she goes to bed so I can get my recording done. And then throughout the week, I'll try to edit it all together.
So it's a pretty intense schedule.
Yeah, I mean, my weekend, I'm technically the weekend meteorologist right now. So I work Saturday and Sunday nights from 2 p.m. to about midnight. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I work 9 to 5, 9 to 5:30.
Mhm.
So Sunday night into Monday is always rough because it's like at work till midnight, back at work at 9 a.m. So when I have spare time in the outside moments, I try to do my recordings, editing, posting, scheduling.
It's hard to find time, but if you can find that much time, I mean, that certainly explains the results that you've got. We basically do one night a week where we either shoot or do a stream, and then try like heck to get a video put together because
Yeah.
Tyler's got his classes, I got my practice, and just it's difficult to find the time sometimes. But
Yeah.
to me, the streams are the most fun.
They are the most fun. The most personal, too. You can connect. Speaking of connecting, I got to call out one comment, and that's Allie Martin. That's my girlfriend. So cheers, baby.
Well, cheers,
Uh,
Allie. Thanks for hanging out with us. I see Donner Pass Whiskey. What's going on? Mark Boyer's in the house. What's going on, Mark? All right. C.A. Scotty, what's going on, my friend? All right. So here's what we got. So, Brandon, you've got 4 samples in front of you. All right. And you can see I think you called it out right away. The symbols, you got an X, a circle, a triangle, and a square, right? So they're actually the same buttons that correspond to your PlayStation controller.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't really what I was going for, but it does kind of work. I think when I kind of put this together, I was watching
Because it's a game.
it's good enough, right? We'll go with it for now until I think of something maybe somewhat clever. I don't know. But anyway, you've got 4 different samples with the symbols on them. All right. And what you're going to do is sip through them. And I'm going to ask you 10 questions at the conclusion of your flight here. And Tyler, do you want to put the questions up so Brandon can see?
I guess I got to take some notes.
There's nothing too wild here, but just so you know what we're getting at, you're going to look for which is the highest proof, which is the lowest proof, which is finished, which is a bourbon, which is a rye, which has the highest age statement, which is the highest price, lowest price, which is Michigan, which is Kentucky. I think that's 10. So let's get you going here. And all right. So
All right. Any order?
no, it's
Okay.
I suppose if I wanted them in an order, I could have put 1 through 4 or A, B, C, D, but I didn't. So there's to answer your question, no, there's not really any significance of what order you go in. I think it works, however you want to go about it. And while you're kind of getting your nose on that first one, boom, we've got Chris, Bourbon of the Week.
Not too late. I wasn't too late, right? I wasn't too late.
No, you're earlier than you thought. So I just
I
looked
gotta
down.
make a dramatic entrance,
I didn't get to give you that build up. And one thing that I did want to say is, my next guest is the 2-time reigning fantasy whiskey draft champion, Chris from Bourbon of the Week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because really, if you can't brag about it on other whiskey tube channels, what the heck good is it, right?
That's right. I keep the trophy on the shelf for a reason.
There you go. Yeah, so that was certainly fun getting to do that with you guys, getting to know you guys a little bit. And I think if we do it again next year, I'll have a better strategy than what I came up with this year. I think I was last. Probably didn't need to mention that. All right, so Chris, I see that you look like you're up to speed here. You got your flight poured up, and you see the goofy symbols, right?
Yep. He was just saying which order do these go in, and like you said, if you wanted them in an order, it'd be 1 through 4. Now, you said we have 2 different flights here.
Your samples are not the same.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if we drink the same symbol or not.
It does not.
Okay.
And again, to carry over the theme, you'll be asked the same 10 questions that I just had on the screen there. And I think I had texted you so you weren't coming in behind the curve.
Yep.
But I don't know, Tyler, is there a way to kind of put that in the background, like as a 4th screen or something? If you can. No? Giving me the thumbs down. I can't do that. Okay. All right. If you can, great. If you can't, that's fine. All right. So which one did you start with, Brandon?
I went X, square, circle, triangle.
Okay.
Which is left to right on your screen, right to left on my
Okay. All right.
page.
Did it
I know
any
you said it
particular
didn't matter, but it's going to bother me, so I put them in order as well.
Okay. All right. So which one are you sipping on first then, Chris? Is it X?
I'm going with X as well. Yep.
All right. So while you guys are doing that,
are we going to do all 10 questions for each one, or are we going to do like one at a time per question?
you know what? I don't know. I'll probably just here's what I might do is I know Brandon has to be out of here by 8:30. I mean, I would say we gave him a head start, but we were kind of getting started at the same time. Maybe we just kind of
we can interchange. It's all good.
I think what I'll do is I'll ask you each the first question, get an answer, then the second, the third, kind of go like that. Get an answer from each of you for each one, and then roll down the line. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. And while you guys are doing that, I've got a fresh crack here of this is the Green River Weeded Full Proof.
Ooh.
Single barrel. So this was one of the ones that I had been on the lookout for since I heard about it. I don't know, about 2 months ago when they announced this one. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that. Roger Reese coming in hot. You guys can see the crawl at the bottom. I think I told you this earlier, Chris, but the mystery bottle is an Evernorth single barrel rye, which is it's sourced from Sagamore. It's a 52% rye, 132 proof. And if you guys have had any of these from Evernorth, these are fantastic. And
I have not had anything from Evernorth.
And Sean was at the store, so he signed the bottle. So a cool giveaway, a cool keepsake for whoever wins the bottle here tonight. You haven't had anything from Evernorth, Brandon?
No. Maybe I might. I don't know.
I know that they've been really good about working with a lot of channels and doing single barrel picks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Dan did a video outside with a bottle, and the name was like weather themed, and I was like, I need it, but I can't remember what it was. Something Arctic or?
Oh yeah, their end of the year limited release was called Arctic Spirit.
I think that's it.
All right.
Ooh.
Well,
hey, what's going on, buddy?
This is going to be difficult.
Here, for reference, and I don't think there's anything too crazy in you guys' flights, but we've had Marty's done the best so far. Marty Whiskey Nose. he got 6. I think John from Gentleman and Whiskey got 5. And then Dusty Dan and Scott from My Bourbon Journey, I think each got 4. So that's kind of the range so far. And like I said, for each one of these questions that I'm going to ask you, there may be more than one right answer, but there's at least one right answer.
Okay.
So you could technically get more than 10 points in that realm? No. Okay.
But there's a few questions where you have better odds of getting that point than
What if I call out, but what if there are 2 options and I pick them both?
That's what I'm saying. Is like you should get extra credit.
You know what? I had not thought of that, Chris. I'm gonna have to.
I'm not gonna risk it because if I guess 2, then you know what I mean. Then if you get 1 and 1, you can't give me 1 point. You know what I mean?
No, I think I'm gonna have to limit you to 1 guess because what if you?
Yeah, it's got to be 1 guess.
Yeah.
Right. Then how do you decide if you? Yeah, I agree.
All right. So this Green River Weeded is a little funky on the nose. Did you guys like the Green River Full Proof?
Loved it. It was one of my favorite.
I haven't had
last year.
You haven't had the Green River Full Proof yet?
I haven't had the Green River Full Proof yet.
I wasn't a huge fan when I first cracked it, but as I worked through it a little bit, it got really good. And it's like a $59 bottle, Brandon?
By me, it's $40. Our Costco has it for $36.99. Yeah, but I think SRP is $45.
I mean, I thought it was a good deal. I think I got it at Bardstown when I was there, and I think it was $59.
Damn. Was it early? Because I know when they released, they were high on the price, but they have dropped quite a bit.
All right, Josh, look for the Piccolos Evernorth pick. The 56. So that's. Yeah, they dropped 3 different picks. Is that? Geez, yeah. I saw the 52 rye, and I knew that was the one I was going to grab for the giveaway tonight. But that one's good, eh?
Can I see the questions again, by chance?
Yeah,
we're allowed to sip on these, right? We're not just nosing right now.
Oh, you go for it.
I just want to make sure I'm not breaking any rules. Highest proof. Okay, I see. All right. So we're basically picking one for each of these. All right. Which of these samples is a rye? Which one has the highest age statement?
Which has the highest SRP, lowest SRP?
That's where I'm going to struggle.
I think the tricky one in this bunch is going to be which one do you think is the Michigan, but I could be wrong.
I think I figured that out.
It might stick out to it like a sore thumb for you guys. I don't know.
And could there be no answer for some of these?
No, there's an answer for everything.
So
there is a finish. There is a rye. There is a. Does double oaking count as a finish? Are we? Yeah. I always bring that question up. Okay.
I think so, don't you? I mean, because it.
I do. I agree. Whenever it's brought up, I always think it. But there's some people that are like, double oaked is it?
If it's put into a second barrel, that's my
right.
That's kind of what tracks is. You're taking it from one barrel to another. That's a finish. You just
I would agree. Oh man.
If you got something that you really like, call it out. If you got something that you really don't like, call it out. I'll make some notes here just for the heck of it.
My square is really good right now. My X is dark, which is kind of, I'm getting thrown off by that because it doesn't feel like it's an aged dark. It doesn't feel like it's like a super aged stated dark finish. Maybe it's a finished one. That's what I'm kind of thinking, which is why I asked if double oak was considered, because maybe that's like a double oaking. But it also, I don't know what's going on.
I have the toughest time picking out age.
I agree.
I can do okay with proof. I can do okay sometimes with finishes, but yeah, age to me, I have a real difficult time.
Well, because that's another thing. Like hell, 4-year-old Texas can have a feel of like a 10-year-old Kentucky. So,
and the color too.
Yeah.
And all of these are bourbons or ryes. Are we allowed to know that? You didn't throw like an American single malt in here just to throw me off, right?
I'm not gonna.
Well, are you allowed to? Are you allowed? Okay. Okay.
I think so. I'm not gonna say one way or the other, but if you look at the questions, I think
right,
it wouldn't rule out that one could be something different altogether.
Okay. Oh, I like that. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go, Ty. All right, so I saw a
Perfect.
comment here. All right, Henry Hickey, I subscribed and hit the thumbs up. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. We are, still a smaller channel. We're working towards 2,000 subscribers. I think before the stream here, we were at like 1925 or 1930. So hoping to get up over 2,000 here.
That's wild to me though, because your quality and like editing is spot on. So I don't understand how you haven't hit the algorithm yet.
I think it's more or less that we don't put out a lot. Like I think it's
I was gonna say, I was just looking. You have like 130 some videos out. That's 2,000 for 130 some videos. Seems pretty. I was gonna say the opposite. That seems crazy to me that you're doing that well.
well, I appreciate the kind words. It is really weird, if you guys follow your stats. I'm sure you do. I'm sure we all do. Some videos will just kind of hit the same, ballpark of subscribers, and then like one will get like a ton, and it's so random.
Well, it's random when it takes off too. I had a video last summer. 6 months later, it went up 3 times what it got in the first 5 months. I was like, where the hell? How did this get picked up? It was like Costco Bourbon, the Kirkland lineup.
Like you thought it had kind of lived its life, and then all of a sudden
It lived its life at like 3,000 views, and then the week of 4th of July, it went from 3,000 to 18,000. It's just weird how one thing will be picked up, and like what drove that? Were people searching for 4th of July bourbon, or?
Yeah, the only thing I noticed with ours is that if we had some type of a list, those seem to do better. Or if it's or if you're featuring a bottle that is something that people are really looking for.
But you got to be one of the first ones to be on that bottle.
First, I want to say hello to my wife. Cheers to you, dear. And then Randall's comment here. Is there a way to screenshot that, Tyler, just for future reference? Right.
You just take a picture. Oh.
I'm a WW guy. That's how we found out about this shit. Okay, yeah. Brandon does a heck of a job promoting his channel. I did notice now, Brandon, with all the content that you put out there, you don't have like a regular stream, right? But it seemed like you were kind of trying to get that going next.
That's the next on the list. So part of the TV gig is you're always on call, and you're the guy who fills in for the guy. So if someone takes a vacation, I'm the first one to fill in. So while my schedule is normally Saturday through Wednesday, there will be some weeks I work Thursday night and Friday night. There may be some weeks that I work Monday, Tuesday morning. So there's never consistency in my schedule, which bleeds into consistency, and even consistency in posting, right? I do notice that channels that post consistently on a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday, etc., where you can expect the video to drop, you're more likely to have success because people are trained to look for it on that day. I haven't really had that opportunity yet. Fingers crossed over the next couple of weeks, we're going to start to hammer home more of a schedule. But yeah, right now I'm doing every 2 weeks for a stream, which
I like that. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing every other Thursday for this year. I think it was a good maybe a year or so before I started doing a live stream. And one of the things that I wrestled with was when is a good time, because I watch like Mash and Drum and Bourbon Junkies and Dusty Dan, and they all have like a set time. And I was trying to figure out, well, I don't want to be on when this guy's on or when this guy, But then the more I went down the list, I'm like, if I tied myself to when other people aren't on, there's no time.
Yeah.
So I just kind of boiled down to, well, you know what, Thursday nights work for me. So I'll just roll with it. And I know that David and Jamie do a regular Thursday stream, and they've got a big following. And I used to watch them when I wasn't streaming, or if they streamed on a different night. But if I tried to work around everybody, I'd never have a slot. So I just gonna go with what works. Now, Chris, you're a one-man crew.
Just me.
And I think what I had heard is, for the longest time, were you shooting all your stuff on your phone?
I was up until recently, which is what what have my camera for now. I was just throw my phone up on a tripod and film like that.
And you've been at this for a minute.
If we going on, what is it, 2025? I started during COVID, so 2020-ish. So yeah, almost 6 years now.
You know, I was curious to see how long you've been at it, and I just go on and I click like oldest video, and I think it was like 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
you're like OG status.
I don't want to say, I don't, that makes me feel old when you say that. It's crazy because if you go back and look at some of my original content, you can tell I did everything myself back then. I did have help. I own an ice cream store. So with the ice cream store, I have like some younger kids that work for me, 15, 16-year-olds a lot. And there was one girl that worked for me who her passion was video editing and getting into that space. And of course, I'm like, well, I'm a whiskey channel. You're 17, 18. This isn't really the spot for you to like help produce any content. But I was like, if I send you, I'll do all the cuts and everything, make sure it's like what I want on the internet. And she would go through and like kind of help touch things up, which was nice for a while. But then she went off to college to do that for full time. And then I went back to and learning the editing side of things was always part of the passion as well. I'm not great at it, but it's been a lot of fun learning that side of things. And you sent me the, speaking of you with how good everything looks, you sent me that thumbnail and I was just like, this guy put this thumbnail. I didn't even send you my picture or anything. Like you grabbed that and it just looked amazing. I was like, how does this guy do this? My thumbnails are like pre-made templates that I could just hopefully put something into.
Well, I don't do any of that, right?
Oh, it's not it. None of that's you.
No, that's all my son. He
Okay.
does the shooting, the editing, all of the Photoshop stuff, anything technical, he does.
Well, shout out to him. He's phenomenal.
He's
and how much does he charge?
Room and board.
Is he 21? I got plenty of whiskey you can have.
You know what? It's interesting you ask. He's 20, and this year he will be 21.
Okay.
So we've talked about at that point
turning the bourbon jerk into the bourbon jerks. So there's going to be a couple
having him on, see how it works. Yeah, how that dynamic might play out. It seems interesting. But yeah, he does all of this stuff, and he does a really nice job. So yeah, whenever somebody mentions that proud dad moment. So appreciate that,
Chris. He's good. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to say, counterpoint is, you doing all this stuff on your own and, you're doing it on your phone and building the followership that you've got, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram, and you've got a really big following on Instagram, I saw. What a whiskey channel boils down to, right? If you want to kind of break it down to the lowest common denominator, it's a dude talking about whiskey. Right? You're either interested in what that dude has to say or you're not. Doesn't matter about the fancy bells and whistles. If at the end of the day, you don't care what the guy's talking about and it's not interesting to you, you're not going to watch. Mm-hmm. So you've got a way of bringing people in, like the way that you talk, the cadence that you've got, like how you can just that's what impressed me and kind of drew me in is, man, how does this guy, like, he's got the gift of gab.
The one thing I'll tell you is I tell people all the time, they're like, you talk so fast, you got to slow down. And for me, it's just the way my brain runs. If I've tried to personally, people are like, you need to slow down. Like, I can't keep up with your videos. And at one point I tried to sit there and I tried to slow things down. But for me, it sounds awful. It just sounds inauthentic. It's not who I am. So it's like, I'd rather just, hey, this is the way my brain's working. I'm drinking this whiskey. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. Let me just tell you how it is. Then try and be like, and if that's the way you work and that's the way like you speak and that's your natural cadence, then that's the way it's got to be. But for me, it's just my brain is moving at 100 miles a minute. So that's when I'm drinking whiskey, when I'm talking about whiskey, I want to be as authentic as I can about my experience while I'm drinking it. So I'm just gonna give it to you 100% like that.
Yeah, you've got I feel like I kind of go slow. You are hitting it like at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I love it though.
You know what? While we're all here, I was trying to think there's there was a common denominator here, the two of you guys, and it was about a year ago. There was like a viral like whiskey tube thing about, oh, what 5 channels do you watch, or what 6 channels should people watch? And 2 of the channels that I had in my video were the 2 of you guys.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
speak of the devil, one of the other ones was this gentleman here, Carlos Whiskey Corner.
He down in Florida?
He is. He's in like in the Tampa St. Pete area. He can tell you a little bit more. But yeah, so at that point in time, that you guys were certainly a couple of my favorite channels. That hasn't stopped being the case, and so while I'm thinking of it, I really appreciate the 2 of you guys accepting the invitation to come on here and goof around for a little bit. So thanks. Schedules are difficult.
I appreciate you.
Well, appreciate you for having us on.
Yeah,
Also, I don't know.
agreed.
I've got to interject as well. I don't know if you know this, but Chris and I were actually head to head last year in the Bourbon Finds Instagram top Instagram.
I might have seen that.
I got crushed. That's why he brings that up. I know that's what Brandon's like. By the way, just so you know.
Well, I was like, I didn't realize
it was like 82%.
I was like, I hope there's no bad blood, because
no, not at all. I think I voted for you. I was like, have you seen this guy's content?
I know if it was the other way around, Chris would have made sure to mention it as well. So,
100%. I would have brought my trophy out. I would have sat it on the table.
We got
no bad blood. I love that what he does with that.
What is going on?
Oh, cheers!
Hope you're drinking something good.
Damn, some of this is funky.
I'm like, so I'm assuming again. So Tom, obviously some has to hit the mark on both of these. Like, if it's finished, it can also be a rye or a bourbon. Yeah. So like, answer 3 could have the same. 3 and 5 or 3 and 4 can both be square per se.
Yeah, you might answer square to like 6 questions.
Shit, I'm gonna answer square for every question. No, just kidding.
See, I got a little nervous because it's like filling out this.
Yeah,
it's the Scantron C. I'm like, well, they can't all be C.
You said we have a different blind lineup. Are there any that interchange? As in this, like, do we have one pour that is the same, or are they all 4 completely different?
All right. So, since you asked, you have the exact same pours. They are all just
different orders. You son of a gun.
So
I hate you for that act,
for Chris, and I've got an answer key for Brandon. But if you break it down, it's the same 4 whiskeys.
Now I'm gonna look even stupider when I only get 2 of these right.
And I'm assuming you gave everybody else the same one, or did you have mixed it up?
No.
No.
The only other time I had 2 guests on a stream was with Scott and Marty, and I think they just had completely different flights. Because you guys get that it's difficult to coordinate.
Yeah.
With schedules. So, I'm looking ahead. I'm like, I put a flight together, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I know I want to have Brandon on. I know I want to have, Carlos on, or I'm thinking ahead who I want to have on. So I'll put a flight together. And with you guys, I was kind of talking at the same time, and I'm like, you know what? If it works out that they're on the same stream, this might be a little interesting to have the same whiskey, just mix them up and see, how the answers might be.
Tom, here's another reason how I know you should have more subscribers. Nancy Fraley just jumped in the chat.
Right. I mean, I don't want to swoon right now, but geez,
my Lord. Like, come on.
Nancy is a Whiskey Tube fan. If you guys go on to other streams, she'll pop in.
She definitely does pop in.
Drums quite a bit. Or trying to think of what other ones I've seen her in. But she's one of us. She's a Whiskey Tube fan.
I will say she's never jumped in on mine, so you made it, my man.
Well, you put it out there.
That's sick. That's sick. I'll say that.
All right. So, question for you guys: have you made it? How many pours have you made it through? Have you made it through each one so far, or just?
Oh,
the
I've
second
gone
one?
I
through
made
each
it through
one
all
like
the
3 or 4
pours.
times.
I've got 4 questions filled out.
Okay.
I got 4 answers so far.
All right. So, and how about you, Brandon?
I have like 5 answers, but I'm not. I don't
I'm
know.
not feeling great about this. I'll be
No.
honest with you.
I thought one thing completely, and then I tried them again, and then I thought something completely different on like 3 of them. So
Well, they tell you to go with your first
first guess, right?
First guess, right?
C. Yeah, the forecast.
I like the concept of drink all 4, answer the questions with all 4 in front of you. I know like ADHD whiskey right now doing his thing with Matt Madness. He would kind of like take a nose of this one and then answer this question. And I feel like I like this style. Both styles are great. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like I like this style because it makes me question myself a little bit more, which is the fun part of it. You know, I go through and I'm like, it's got to be X, and then I'm like, wait a minute, maybe it's square over here.
Yeah, he gets really deep into a lot of his his competitions. He's been doing it for a while.
Oh yeah,
I'm just just some jerk on the internet trying to maybe make a fun game for a few of his buddies. And
no, I like this a lot.
Is that where the name the Bourbon Jerk came from?
You know, Brandon, I was just trying to think of something that was sort of memorable. Because let's face it, I mean, there's a lot of us, right? I mean, and this was before I even went on Instagram, and there's like, to the nth degree of whiskey
Mhm.
two people are whiskey influencers or channels or whatever handles on Instagram. But I was trying to think of something somewhat interesting, maybe somewhat humorous. And I think I came up with like the whiskey jerk. And I was like, okay, that works. And then I think I designed a little logo like this. It was a whiskey jerk. And then I went on YouTube and found out that I think it's a Canadian band that was called the Whiskey Jerks. So I'm like, okay, well, scratch that. I don't need a cease and desist letter, 2 months in. So I just, remade it as the Bourbon Jerk. I don't know. I think I was, maybe thinking about, what was it, the Smashing Pumpkins video with Billy Corgan where he's dressed up as a soda jerk. I don't know. Just kind of hit me up once, one of those moments. I was like, okay, let's go with that.
I mean, your logo in the back was like the first thing that I noticed in every one of your videos, and that's why I had to reach out to you. I was like, "Where did you get that?"
Yeah, on that, you got a sign, right?
Yeah, it's downstairs still. So I'm in the process of renovating. What you don't see behind you has been like a year in the making, and all of my stuff is going over there. And then this is going to have smaller shelves with my logo, same brand that you got yours, AF Cultures, but
Yeah,
it's been sitting in a box downstairs.
They did a real nice job. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I'm real happy with mine. I need to
I
get
can't wait
these
to see it.
bottles over there soon, next month.
All right, can't wait. All right, so
American Single Malt Jerk just doesn't flow
American
right.
Single Malt Jerk didn't flow right. I mean, it does have Heighton's pick is in. Okay, so just keep me. That's the first pick. Let me know when we get to the Lions. Probably be sleeping.
So Tom, these are all age stated. That's what you're telling me.
Not necessarily.
If you know which one's the oldest and which one's the youngest, then we got to have.
It's not even close.
Oh God, that's what's throwing me off. The oldest and the youngest.
For that particular question, there's one that's far and away, and the others are nowhere near. So there's a clear
highest age statement.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this, Brandon. I see that it's about a quarter after. You're tracking. You got to be done about 8:30
ish.
Okay. All right. You want to start getting into some of these questions here? You guys?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I can start going through. I'll get answers as we go. I got my first 3 answers, so we can get through that, and then I'll figure out 4 before we get there.
All right. So we won't rush Brandon. He looks like he's kind of.
I'm just trying to complete the other 3 questions.
He's dialing it in right now. He's. While he's doing that, if somebody in chat can post links to the Patreon groups for both Bourbon of the Week and Whiskey Weather, that'd be cool. Usually Richie's our guy. I don't see him in here tonight.
You were like one of the first 5 people to join my Patreon. I will say that. But cheers to you.
Yeah, dude. I told you I'm a fan. And you've you've scaled that so quickly that it's like wow. You've already done a couple of picks, right?
4. And I've got 2 more in the can.
And you had mentioned that you're working with did you say Shared Pour?
I've worked with Shared Pour. I've done it the illegal way, shipped it myself.
Yeah,
I
saw that was the first one, right? You're trying to maybe sort that out, how you could do it. That's got to be
the
a
first 2.
nightmare, right?
It is a logistic. The first one I lost my ass off of, just to break down the fourth wall. Like I had didn't know what I was doing. 3 bottles broke in the mail or broke. I packed them the right way. They were just, one lady at the store was like, "What's in here?" I was like, "Olive oil," and she's like, "It sounds like liquid." I was like, "Yeah."
Well,
And then
olive oil is liquid, just last time I checked.
And then the next day, one of the boxes showed up shattered, and then the other one was confiscated and never made it to its.
Oh boy, yeah, that would have been the nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah, I get too nervous for all that.
Cheers, Nancy. Yeah, so that's why I went Shared Pour. I was like, it's out of my hands.
What's going on, Jeffrey?
Jeffrey Wack.
Yeah, and Brandon, this is going to sound silly, but I mean, if you're doing more than a couple bottles and you get tagged, I mean, you get charged with like bootlegging.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm not even, shipping over state lines. I was like, I'm not even gonna Shared Pour. You can take this responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. The margins change, I'm sure, but the headache's not worth it. And then Chris, you do picks. Do you do picks with the local group and then also with some of the other whiskey tubers, or just with the whiskey tuber?
I have done one pick with myself and Chris from Whiskey Noobs podcast. It was my first pick. I did a bunch of picks with, we just saw Jeffrey Wack, Hello Again Whiskey Friends, and Dusty Dan. They've been very kind to invite me on a lot of their picks. They do a lot of picks, and anything that I can come to that they invite me to, I try my best to get to, because you talk about some of the best palates in the game: Durrell, Jeff, Kelsey, Dusty Dan. I mean, they are phenomenal. Their picks are phenomenal. I don't know how they don't get more recognition for it. I mean, they do. They sell out of them. And I'm going to do a Sagamore pick this Monday. I'm actually going to Sagamore with some patrons and some friends to do an on-site pick at Sagamore.
Deal, right?
That'll be my pick. And then Gentleman of Whiskey, John from Gentleman of Whiskey is doing that one as well. So I told him, I said, this is just as much your pick as it is my pick. I want your opinion. Like, obviously I think there's 12 of us going. Everybody has an opinion on it. Me and John are kind of if there's anything up for grabs on, we got to lean one way or another. The 2 of us will make a decision.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And John, Gentleman of Whiskey is another one of the channels that I watch.
Love that guy.
Kind of quiet the last month or so, but
he's got that kid now. He's
well. So do you? Didn't you guys both have? Do you have a newborn?
Yes, I do. I have she's 5 months coming up pretty soon. So
enjoy it, brother.
I am.
But you're a veteran.
That's why
he's got his first.
Well, I also have a 4-year going on 5-year-old, so I'm not my first. And I've moved a lot of my content to short form content for that reason, that I find it a little bit easier for me to create that content in a shorter amount of time and still keep the high quality and humor that I like behind it. So
yeah,
it's a little bit easier on the editing side, which I'm sure your son can tell you.
I just, ask him, hey, when can we have this done? I just cracked a new bottle that I got this week. This is the Barrel Strength Rye Michter's. I've never had one of these.
Is it the 25?
What's that?
Is it the 2025?
Yeah, this is brand new. I think it's the same one that Jason cracked on his stream last night. If you guys were watching that. All right. Well, why don't we get going here.
I'm as ready as I think I'll ever be.
All right, there we go. I like the confidence, Brandon. All right,
I'm
so
not.
first question for both of you, and why don't we start? We'll start with Brandon since he was here first, and then we'll do Chris second since he was just behind. Do you have a guess, Brandon, for which one of these is the highest proof?
Circle is my guess.
All right, give me just a second. Let me jot that down.
Ooh, gotta love that sound.
That's right. By the mic. All right, so you said circle for number one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then Chris, how about you?
I said square, hoping it's also his circle.
Wouldn't that be something if you guys got all the same
Answers?
Just we both get this 10 out of 10. That's fine. We can tie. He kicked my butt in the Bourbon Finds thing. I can at least tie him here. We can do all right.
All right. So the second question is the converse of that. Which is the lowest proof? And
I'm going
Brandon,
triangle.
What did you say there? Sorry, you broke up for me. Triangle? Okay. Gotcha.
Did he answer?
Yeah, he said triangle. He broke up the first time, but the second time I heard him triangle.
Gotcha. All right. All right. And then Chris, you have a guess for lowest proof?
I said X for that one.
Okay.
That's my
But now I'm completely. I think I'm completely wrong because I'm sipping X right now, and that can't be right.
Go with your gut. Go with your gut. Did you guys have a favorite out of the bunch?
Square, and it's not even close for me.
I think mine was either circle or square by the looks of how much is left in each glass. I thought 3 out of the 4 were like really good to me. I'd say circle for me.
Okay.
I have one that's phenomenal. I have 2 that are great, and then I have one that I don't think it's bad, but it's just not my cup of whiskey.
Okay.
My cup of tea. Yeah.
I'm looking at what I gave you guys, and I think there's going to be one that neither of you guys have had. And then, let's see, one you guys have definitely had for sure. And then 2 maybes. So this will be interesting to see, where you're weighing in here. Okay. So we got the highest proof. We got the lowest proof. How about number 3? Which of the samples is finished?
Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm gonna say
This is one I thought there were multiple for.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you.
Okay. So then your odds are better.
square was.
You would hope so.
I'm gonna say square for me.
So Brandon's going with square for finish. And then, how about you, Chris?
I said circle, but I don't think it's circle. But I'm just gonna. You said stick with my gut. I literally put circle with a question mark next to it because I don't think it is, but I can't figure out which one of these other ones would definitely be a finished whiskey.
Okay. We'll go.
I'm kind of hedging my bet with circle here with another one of these questions.
All right. I'm pinning Bourbon of the Week in for circle.
Put me in for circle.
All right. All right. So question number 4 is going to be which is a bourbon. So again, you'd think maybe there's more than one answer here. We'll go to you,
Circle.
Brandon.
Circle.
Like the confidence comes right out with the circle. How about you, Chris?
Because it's my favorite, I'm going to say square.
Okay.
Just because I usually tend to lean bourbon anyway. So if I like it this much, I'm hoping it's a bourbon. Otherwise, we're going to change my name.
It's a rye of the week.
Rye of the week might have to be it.
I had a question for you, Chris, while we're
Yes.
bullshitting here. Bourbon of the week seems to me very formatted. Did you have a frequency where you were doing picking up a bottle every week and reviewing it, or?
I did at one point, and I try my best to keep up with that today. It's not quite financially I'm a little bit more financially responsible with 2 daughters now.
Okay.
But at the time, I was certainly And again, when I first started, I was doing the Wild Turkey 101, the Woodford Reserve, the shelf whiskey that I could go and buy for $35 and get it done. So now it becomes a little bit more reliant on patrons, on friends to send me samples. I do a lot of sample work these days. Distilleries sending some bottles. I work with Barrel a lot. They send out bottles to me all the time, which thank them for that. And then just trying to keep up with samples on the newest stuff. Like you guys said, if you're not one of the first reviews on the newest stuff, it becomes a little bit more difficult to hit the timeline. But I try to get at least somebody I know to send me I don't need a whole bottle of it, because you can see all of us have enough whiskey in our collection that we're never going to drink it all. So I'm fine with a sample.
When you were saying that, I thought, like, I did a review, like a short for like Smoke Eye Hill, and it wasn't one of the first ones. But it definitely got way more spin than anything else I did, in terms of a short review at that time. And I figured it was because that was a bottle that a lot of people were searching online.
Correct. Yep.
It's not something that, it's really local to many people. It was just one of those like internet sensations, I think.
Well, I've been told it was
ever since Fred said that. Ever since Fred said it was the GTS killer. It's you could probably post a video today with put Fred Minnick's face on the thumbnail and you'll get 100,000 views.
All right, so we are on number 5. Question is, which of these samples is a rye?
X.
Did you get a guess? You say pass?
X.
Oh, X. I was like, you can't pass.
Nope.
Freddie, you were confident on that one. You didn't really hesitate on that.
That was the first one I poured and sipped, and I was like, this is a rye from the moment I tasted it. And I was like, have that question done and answered right away.
I thought I had the same, but again, I go back through. I'm second guessing myself. I said triangle right. I drank all 4. I said triangle right away, and I'm just gonna stick with triangle on that.
Okay. All right, and I think when I was doing this with Scott for my bourbon journey, I think he had guessed a couple of right ones, but then he's like, you know what? Let me change that to this. And sure enough, he went from the right answer to the wrong answer. Like
Scott loves to second guess himself. He does that often.
He did. He talked himself out of a couple right answers. All right, 6. Okay, now again, so for this one, Chris, there's a clear one that's older than the others. Which of these has the highest age statement? And we can go to Brandon for his guess, and then we'll come back to you.
There's a clear answer.
Mm-hmm.
I said this when he said there was an obvious answer. I don't have an obvious answer.
It's not necessarily obvious, but when I'm looking at the ages for these particular whiskeys, one has an age statement that is significally higher.
So what kind of age statements you got there?
Yeah, tell me that information first. No. You don't have. Don't tell me that.
We'll get to that.
I'm between 2, and I had an answer.
I was the same way.
I'm changing my answer. I originally said O, but I'm going square on this one.
All right, so you're going to go with square for the highest age. All right.
Because I think I figured out what it might be, but I could just look like a total dope.
That's my go-to.
Looking like a total doper.
Looking like a total dope.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just got to be willing to put it out there and, whatever. Understand that very few of us will ever get like a headshot on one of these bottles.
Yeah.
All right. So, Chris, how about a highest age statement?
I was also back and forth on this, so I was kind of curious. You said what before you changed it to O?
My circle was what I thought, and then I changed it to my square.
Your circle was what you thought, you changed it to. My triangle was what I thought, and then I changed it to my X. So X is going to be my answer, but I'm curious if circle is my triangle. So I want to keep that in mind going into that's what's throwing me off. I'm trying to gauge off. Yeah. He's giving an answer, and I'm just hoping my answer isn't the same because I know they're different.
Yeah, this will be interesting when we get.
I got them written down though. I'm not cheating over here off your answers. I don't have the next 3 written down, so I got to get on these.
All right, and this is the toughest for me. But the next one is, which of these is the highest MSRP? And again, is it going to be obvious from sipping through them? Probably not. But in terms of if I line these bottles up, one is significantly more expensive than the other three.
And I feel like that's the hard part because I obviously like one of these more than the others, so I would assume that that's going to be the most expensive. But then you get some of these like crazy, like that Michigan one. That could be some craft Michigan like 5-6 year old whiskey that I've never heard of. That's $125 for no reason.
Yep.
I'm curious to see how the Michigan one does with you guys because I think it's really good. And
I have 3 things crossed out for the Michigan. Is it my turn? 7.
Yeah, let's go to you, Brandon.
Go
Most expensive
Square.
bottle in the flight here.
Square. That's my guess again.
This is where we're both going to go square here, and obviously one of us is wrong because we have different flights. Or he's been messing with us this whole time, which could be a Tom move. We could have the exact same, and we haven't had one answer correct yet.
So, Brandon, did you say square?
Yes, I said square.
Okay.
We both went with square on this one.
Okay.
And again, I'm only going square because it's my favorite, and I'm hoping it's the most expensive of the bunch.
Okay. I'm tempted to go look at your key right now, but I'll do it at the end.
No. If you don't know, we don't know.
I'll wait. All right. The converse of that, which of these is the least expensive?
Should I just say the same one that I said was the most expensive? Then no, never mind.
Guaranteed.
I'm gonna say
that's
Circle.
Hey, Maureen.
Damn it, Brandon.
Oak and agave. Cheers.
Did you hear me, Tom?
No, I'm sorry, Brandon.
Very good. Circle was my lowest.
Okay. All right. Chris, you got a guess for youngest or not youngest, but least expensive?
I don't, but I'll give you one. I'm also I hate to do this. I'm also gonna say Circle, and I want to go back to that when we get to question number 9 and 10 here.
All right. Well, here we are. So number 9, Brandon. Which of these is distilled in Kentucky?
Part of me wants to say none of them are.
He said one is at least.
Yeah, there's going to be a right answer here.
Okay.
And what the answer is going to be, one of the symbols. It's not going to be none of the above.
Okay. Well, then I'm going with Circle.
Okay. No, that seems like it would be kind of a tricky move if I asked you which was distilled in Kentucky, and the answer is none of them.
Right.
Well, I mean, you could have thrown like 4 craft from like Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, and been like, which is a Kentucky bourbon? Actually, none of them are. Gotcha.
That doesn't seem fair. All right, so you got a guess on Kentucky, Chris?
I'm going to, because it's my favorite, and I love a Kentucky bourbon. Okay. I gotta say Square. I think there's another. I think this and I think the finished were the 2 questions that have multiple answers, but I'm gonna go with Square on my answer.
All right. All right. So last
I think
question.
Your Circle or my Circle and your Square might be the same.
That thing's phenomenal. Is that the one you picked as your favorite? Your Circle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Brandon for Circle and Chris for Square for favorites.
Yeah, that thing is.
Right. All right. So last question is, which of these is distilled in good old Michigan? This Michter's Rye is really
If you want, I can go first on this one and explain myself on all these questions real quick.
Sure, go for it.
All right, so I picked Circle for distilled in Michigan, and this is where I'm lost. This was either distilled in Michigan, or it's finished and I don't like it. And I guarantee you, if it's a distilled in Michigan finished whiskey, it's the most expensive, and I didn't pick it.
Okay.
That's where I'm at on this. That could be all of the above.
You went down a whole rabbit hole there.
I got very upset on my Circle. I got very upset. I can't figure this one out to save my life.
All right. So before Brandon gives his answer, have you guys had a lot of Michigan whiskey or not really?
I couldn't name one distillery. Can you name me a few distilleries?
Journeyman. We've got
Nope.
The Dragon's Milk guys.
That's
so
New Holland.
New Holland. That's Walleye Run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
What's the one?
Valentine, Mirror Pingree.
Yeah,
Mayor Pingree. I have.
Mayor Pingree.
Yeah. I'm supposed to do a
Traverse
pick
City.
with them later this year.
Traverse City.
Traverse City, I have had.
Then there's Grand Traverse Distillery. Detroit City Distillery.
I just saw them pop up the other day.
Detroit City Distillery is slept on. I feel like it's underrated, but I also feel like maybe I'm biased. So it's hard for me to kind of differentiate. So that's why I sample some of these out and I try to get feedback.
I'm going to say X.
All right, so Brandon's going with X for the Michigan product. All right, so I've got your answers all in. So let me go to your keys and tally up your scores first. I won't tell you right away, but I'll tell you your favorites as soon as I finish up. So give me just a couple minutes here.
You take your. We'll entertain.
All right, so let me score Chris here.
So you think Brennan? You think my square was your circle?
Yeah. That's my guess.
You thought your circle. Did you think your circle was the highest proof?
Which question was that?
Number one.
Proof? Yep. And I thought it was the highest age statement, and I thought it was the highest MSRP.
And did you pick your circle for a bourbon?
I did.
It might be. That might be. That adds up.
I wrote Kentucky bourbon on my first
Who did you pick for your Michigan?
For my Michigan, I picked my X.
Your
which
X.
is also my rye.
Okay, so I picked my rye. So your Michigan and your rye are not the same as my Michigan and my rye. I picked my rye as my triangle and my Michigan as my circle. So somebody's off on that, unless they're. I mean, we could both be right, I guess, technically. I thought the rye was obvious as well until you said that the rye was obvious, and then I was very concerned that the rye wasn't obvious.
Now I'm thinking it's a freaking single malt or a high malt after going back to it several times.
I did not take that out of consideration, which is why I asked, do all of these have to be a bourbon or a rye? Because I thought I got a little American single malt in here.
Which would be which?
But I'm not sure. And then which one did you pick as your finished number 3?
I think there's 2 of them. I think
there's 2 as well.
I said square, but now I wish I would have said triangle. Because if I had to guess, this is where I said I'm going to look like a dope. Square is like a Jack 10.
Your square is a Jack 10. See, I don't know which one. I think your square is.
I started getting banana funk, which is what I normally get off of Jack products. It's either that or Jack Bonded. But Jack Bonded to me has more of like a banana bread nose. This is more like banana.
Is my X?
All right, I've got your scores. So before I do that, Tyler, you can take the question screen away so we don't see that anymore. There we go. All right.
The moment of truth.
All right. So let's figure out your favorites. So, well, let me get the flight here real quick. I guess should do that. Well, how I kept track of this is I took pictures. Uno momento.
We just went Spanish.
I'm scared. I either got 1 right or I got 11 right, and there's only 10 questions.
And now I don't think it's Jack anymore. I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't get a Jack in here. I was trying when you said it. I was trying to find it, and I just don't.
I'm thinking X is now single malt. It's not.
That's where I'm on. One of these is a single malt. For me, it was either circle or I put triangle as my rye. But when you said that you were positive on your rye is when I immediately thought maybe one of these is a single malt.
All right, so here's the 4 bottles.
Okay.
A minute ago, I heard Brandon call out Jack Daniels. So there's a Jack Daniels in the flight. but it is the
Damn
single
it.
barrel proof rye.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'll tell you what
Damn
it
it.
is.
That's got to be my square.
That means that's the highest proof. Tell me that's triangle.
Yeah, that's the highest proof for sure.
100%. I'm wrong.
Move these
Damn
out
it.
of the way. It's in the shot here. Okay. Next one was Detroit City Distillery, and this is a single barrel proof bourbon. Okay. Third, or I guess these aren't really in any order, is a Driftless Glen Rye. And I don't know if you guys are in Mash and Drum, but this is the Mojito Driftless Donuts pick from a couple years back.
That's got to be my
Maybe,
X. Because
maybe I did get that right as the triangle. Now that there's two ryes in here, that might be my triangle.
And then the last one is Bardstown, and it's the Chateau de la Baude Batch 2.
So 2 finishes.
So only one of these is finished.
Oh, no, Chateau de la Baude is not finished?
No, it is. This is the only one that's finished.
I thought you said the Driftless Glen was.
No, it's a single barrel rye.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So you've got your finished bourbon, Kentucky. You've got a rye from, I believe, Wisconsin.
Yep.
A bourbon from Detroit. And a rye from Tennessee. Right?
Damn.
So I think the one that you just called out when I heard Brandon talking about it, he got the banana, and you said it was, I think you said triangle, right?
My square to me was banana and rye.
All right.
Or not rye, banana and Jack, but
all right.
I
So
could be wrong.
Brandon, your square was in fact the Jack. Okay.
Called the Jack. So
I wanted to make sure you got credit for that.
Not a dope.
All right. So your triangle, Brandon, was the Detroit.
Okay. That was
Hometown hero.
Barrel proof. Okay.
Your
I thought
X was the rye, the Driftless.
That's what I thought.
And your O, your favorite, was the Bardstown Chateau de la Baude. And this was the batch 2, which a lot of people dogged on. Is not being anywhere near as good as batch 1 or whatever, but I still thought it was pretty good.
Stop comparing batches. If it's good, it's good.
Right. And I don't think I ever tried batch 1 anyhow.
The big question is if my circle was his square.
Let's.
Was my square the Chateau?
All right. Now for Chris, let me pull your key up here.
This is exciting. I love everything about this.
Your X was the Jack.
Okay.
Your O was the Detroit.
Okay. See it. Okay. Okay. Good.
Your triangle was the Driftless.
And your square was my
square was the Chateau.
That thing is freaking good.
So
that thing is freaking delicious.
You guys both picked the same favorite.
As we should. That thing is phenomenal.
I think it's fantastic.
And
I don't have any left in my sample.
I have the slightest sip left.
I remember thinking when I got this that it was pretty good, but I think it's really opened up over time. Like I think it's a lot better now than it was 2 years ago when I got it. So you guys had the same favorite. Now, as far as scoring this goes, I have one of you at 6 and one of you at 3.
I'm the 3. I already know that.
No, you were the 6. And
no,
I'm looking at the first 3 answers. Neither of you got any points. You each nailed 4 and 5. You both missed.
I got
6.
10 right. I know that.
I have you as X for 10.
Did I put X? Damn it! I may have said X on my freaking sheet. I wrote triangle.
Did you really?
Yeah. I said X. You're right because I was like,
I think you said it was triangle and you switched it. Yeah, you switched it at the last minute.
I wrote down X. But you guys were basically neck and neck until Chris just got the last 4. He nailed all of them.
Let's go. Well done, Chris.
I was like, oh, this is gonna go right down to it. And then I was like, I'm looking at I'm like, Wow, he just nailed 4 in a row. So yeah, he got ended up with 6. So well done, sir.
Well
That,
done.
that actually
Tip to the
shoots
cap.
you to the top of the leaderboard along with Marty the whiskey nose.
Ooh,
Oh, well
I
done.
like
Yeah.
that.
Well done.
You guys watch Whiskey Nose?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He's jumped on a couple times with you, hasn't he?
Yeah, Marty's like my my right hand as far as Whiskey Tube goes. My
You don't even have to
biggest
put my
supporter.
logo on that board anymore. You can just
So we'll have to put Bourbon of the Week up there. But yeah, so
heck yeah, man.
I just thought it would be fun to kind of do the same, concept throughout the year and maybe see who ends up with the top score. Maybe we'll do something fun at the end of the year. I don't know. Kind of see where this goes. But I thought this was fun. I mean, putting it together and just picking 4 random things that I thought were interesting. Did you guys
I know
make any?
Brandon doesn't have a lot of time. Can you go through and tell me which one of these? I know.
Oldest?
Yeah. What was the oldest? That's the oldest.
Yeah, this is a blend of.
What question was that?
6.
6.
I think.
Okay.
This is a blend of. This is 12 and 10, so technically a 10-year age statement.
Which one was my ex?
Chris, your ex was the Jack.
And there's no age statement on the barrel proofs, right?
No, I looked it up, and it wasn't anywhere near 10 and 12.
They're like 8, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're even
barrel
8.
proof.
I think they're between like 5 and 7 or something.
Oh, are they that? Okay. So that was the oldest. What was question number 2 was what?
Question 2 was shit. I had Tyler take that down. I forgot what it was. But yeah, highest proof, lowest proof. Yeah, you guys did not get the highest proof or the lowest proof either.
Highest proof was at the Jack.
Highest proof is a Jack. This Jack particular one is like 127. The Detroit was 116. The Driftless was like 117, and then the Chateau was the lightest at 107.
Interesting. I literally messed that all up. I put the Chateau as the lowest proof, but that drink's easy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm really surprised that you guys both picked that. I was curious to see if the Detroit would have hit you guys in the fields, because I think this is probably one.
I got a toasted feel off of it.
I immediately thought that was craft, which is why I put it in.
I got like craft, but also toasted was my thought.
They do some toasted finishes, but this isn't one of them. This is just a single barrel bourbon. You
got to bounce,
and that's where I think my inherent bias comes in.
Brandon,
I
appreciate you stopping in, brother.
And if you got to go,
yeah, I got to bounce. Sorry.
All right.
Thank you for having me,
brother.
You bet. It's been fun. Wish I could.
Thanks
stay
for
longer.
hanging. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Be good, guys, and thanks everybody in the comments.
I'm glad we were able to get him in here. He's got a crazy schedule.
Yeah, I'm glad it was. I didn't want to be too late, so I definitely wanted to make sure. I appreciate you waiting around for me. But
it kind of worked out because he had to leave early. You were coming in a little late, and I'm like, this is
right.
Interesting to juggle.
I'm a night owl anyway, so
I thought that was cool. So you got immediately a craft note on the Detroit, huh?
The second I tasted it, I said it was either finished or it was the Michigan, because I just assumed Michigan's going to be a craft whiskey. Same way, like if I think something's a Pennsylvania whiskey, I'm going to assume it's a craft style. But yeah, it was either finished or if it was Michigan, which is why I picked it for both, because I was kind of hedging my bets there that I'm going to get one of those right. I don't think there's anything off-putting about it. It just takes a little bit younger to me. And it tastes like,
and it is. It's got an age statement on the back. I mean, it's just shy of 4 years, 3 years, 10 months.
It's not pot stilled, is it? Copper pot stilled? Does it say anything on there? Okay, no, I didn't think so.
The one that's pot stilled is New Holland, and it's for their rise or the origin bourbons.
Pot still is one of those things that I can weirdly pick up no matter where it is. So when it was craft, I always look for the pot still when it's craft, and I didn't get a pot still feel for that.
Tried any of those Dragon's Milk Origins or the Walleyes?
I've heard about them. I haven't tried them. I don't think. I actually think I have a sample in my cabinet behind me, but I haven't poured it up yet.
Yeah, they have a definite flavor profile in it. It's got to be from that pot still. But I
Yeah.
I like it. It translates to me as like fruity as all heck.
I love fruity. Yeah, if it's like a dark fruit, or is it more of a like
It's
a red
I get
fruit?
like strawberries and peaches
Yeah.
and
See,
that
I
kind of
would love
vibe.
that. That's the kind of vibe that I love. This
Yeah.
isn't bad though. The Michigan one is not bad.
No, I
What's the
think
price
it's one
tag?
of the better Michigan ones that I've had. And again, I think that's why I don't do a lot of reviews of the Michigan stuff because I think I'm inherently biased. Like the Detroit stuff, the Evernorth stuff. I think I'm biased, so I'll usually not do a review. Like maybe I'll put it in a blind here and there, but I think if I'm going to score it,
Like
it's probably biased.
with Pennsylvania stuff, I feel like I'm the opposite, where I'm kind of trying to hold it to a different standard because I
Yeah.
want it like I want it to be as good as the Kentucky stuff because I know it's never going to be. Like it's they're just not there with the age statements yet here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a big rye area, like the whiskey rebellion and the rye push started in Pennsylvania, and it's starting to make a comeback. But I feel like we're still 2 maybe 3 years off from like there's some good stuff out there. Don't get me wrong, but we're like 2 3 years off from some phenomenal whiskey.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that about the rye because I think here in Michigan, the stuff that's local, that's homegrown, the rye stuff is better than the bourbon.
I don't disagree. Here in Pennsylvania is the same way. The bourbons here in Pennsylvania, I wouldn't touch a bourbon in Pennsylvania. A lot of this stuff is sourced anyway, but anybody who's doing local homemade bourbon here in Pennsylvania, their ryes are
What
just
are
crushing
what
compared
are
to
some
that.
of the bigger brands out there, Chris?
Liberty Pole Spirits is one of my favorite. McLaughlin is out closer to like the Pittsburgh area. McLaughlin has some really good stuff. Even in the bourbon world, they have some really good stuff. The only problem with them is they're expensive. They justify it by if you go on their website and if you like check out their YouTube channel, it's all about, we take care of our employees. We pay them the benefits and the 401ks which I can respect. I'm not mad about that. But when you're telling me a 4-year-old whiskey is $90, then it still makes it hard for the consumer at that
Yeah,
point. So,
I get that, and everybody's got economies of scale that are different, but yeah,
yep.
it is difficult as a consumer to say, yeah, I'm going to spend $90 on a 4-year bourbon where I
Right.
can.
And they have their clientele out there. Again, I'm not trying to talk crap on them. They have some great, phenomenal whiskey over there. The price point's the only hard part with everything else on the shelf. If you like Wiggle whiskey, is like they put out some different stuff. They do some finishes and stuff like that. Not for me. Another Pittsburgh whiskey out there. But yeah, Liberty Pole is something out here towards my area that I have liked a lot. And they, again, with their rise, they do like an old I never know how to say it.
Sounds Irish.
But they have a rot.
And you're
Yes.
in Eastern Pennsylvania, right? Towards the.
Yeah, I'm southeastern Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, Josh, you and me both. Is Evernorth doing a cigar blend? That's a good question, Nancy. I don't know what they're working on. They do all kinds of finishes. They are just having fun over there. Have you tried much of the
Yeah,
Evernorth stuff, Chris?
I've had one sample of one of their bottles during my 12 days of Christmas, or it might have, yeah, it was during my 12 days of Christmas. I liked it. I think they put out some good whiskey. I think what they're doing is fun.
Mhm.
I don't know what the price point is on a lot of their stuff. That's the only thing
That's
for me.
probably the best thing about it is everything they're putting
Is
out is
it's
about $65.
right, and I think
Some
they
of their
recognize that.
premium blends are like 79, and then they had their
Okay.
LE, which was like $100. But everything, for the most part, everything is like $65. And
Yeah, I like what they're doing.
the blends that they're doing recently, they've only gotten better, in my opinion. Like the Night Stalker 4 is insane. The finishes are
The
interesting.
Night Stalker is the ones that I've had. Yes, that's what I've tried.
Yeah, and so the stock that they've been able to obtain and how they've been able to work with it, it's been impressive to me.
And then I see Jason from the Mash and Drum is doing his own little I shouldn't say little, it's huge, but he's doing his thing with Green River. I think he was down picking barrels from them.
Yeah, Jason's going to do his own blending,
His own brand / labeling,
kind of like
and all
a
that.
sub under Barrel King, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Jason's got one of
That I'm
them.
excited for. He was one of the guys that I think the hard thing with Whiskey Tube is, as you said, like you find somebody who you on Whiskey Tube who you kind of like emulate, as far as not me emulating him as far as Whiskey Tube goes, but like his flavor profile, taste profile. You hone in on like certain people, like they like this and I like this, so let me follow them. Jason was one of the first where he started recommending bottles. I would try them, and every single one like was a hit for me. That was a hit for him. And if it was shy for him, or if it was short for him, it was shy or short for me. So I kind of honed in on like we have a similar flavor profile. So he's been a lot of fun for me to follow and see what
Yeah,
he's doing.
I'm right there with you. You know, when I was first kind of getting into the Whiskey Tube, and I was looking for like, hey, what's the next bottle to try? You know, between me and my small friend group. Well, hey, what does Jason think about this one? And we
Right.
were all kind of like, you know, he was right on the money with most of these, and I still think that he is.
Yep.
And you know, you want to talk about putting together like an impressive like production and schedule and just what he puts into it. It's probably about as good as it gets out there.
I agree.
All right, so we got just shy of 9 o'clock. Why don't we pick some winners? I want to get the wheel together. All right, so we've got everybody entered. And all right, so Chris, do you subscribe to the theory that random is random, or do you think we should shuffle the random?
I think we should shuffle. I'm a 3 shuffle guy.
All right, well, so Chris is a 3 shuffle guy. Tyler, go ahead and hit shuffle 3 times, buddy. And we're ready to go. Go ahead and spin it. This is going to be for our first prize, the Evernorth single barrel, personally signed by Mr. Sean Paisley. And would you look at that, Mr. Roger Lee?
Roger.
This is coming your way, buddy. I think this is going to be a monster. And it's a cool bottle to have on your shelf with Sean's autograph on it. So I think you're going to like this, my friend. So Roger wins the bottle. And I said we'd do a second and a third prize. One was going to be Brandon's flight, and the other one was going to be Chris's flight. And spoiler alert, they were the same. So we'll do 2 sets of, you know, same flight. So why don't we go ahead and shuffle it once, Ty? All right, and give her a spin. Looks like I think it's going to be Mr. Randall Erickson. All right, if you want to remove Randall and spin her one more time, and this will be our third prize, which again is going to be the same flight that Randall just won. So Chateau de la Baude was the big winner.
Chateau was good. I gotta try and find that now. I'm also going to, Tom. I'd like to
Chris Terrell.
For inviting me on here. I'd like to do one more spin here. I'm gonna throw in one of my barrel picks with Dusty Dan and Jeffrey Wack, who's in the chat here. This is the Boot Clapper Rye. Absolutely phenomenal pick. It's still wrapped up because I like to send them out. So if we want to spin one more time, we'll get one more winner. I'll send out from myself.
That's very generous. And we've got Bourbon Dan Gundry. I've got Dan's contact information, Chris. I'll get that over to you.
You can text it to me. Yeah, I'll send this out this week.
Chris Sorrell, I don't know that you've won before, so why don't you make sure to send me your contact information at thebourbonjerk@gmail.com. Make sure that we hand deliver these samples to you. We got Giselle's from Boston. Cheers, Tom. What's going on, Jonathan? Nancy said, you guys should try some Chateau de la Baude. Yeah, Nancy's all about the Armagnacs. You can find it pretty easy here in the States. You know, I didn't even I thought, yeah, I guess Chateau de la Baude is Armagnac. For some reason, I was thinking it was wine. I don't know. I didn't even read that close.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I think batch 1 was like 3 years ago. This was like 2 years ago. And these collaboration series, they're usually really good. They're just on the pricey side for me, so I don't get too many of them. Give me 1 second here. Okay. All right. All right. So I think that about does it. Chris, thank you so much for coming on here, buddy. Yeah, you really picked up momentum at the end. Put you right atop the leaderboard with my buddy Marty. So maybe we'll get in touch at the end of the
If it
year.
ends up a tie, we got to do a tiebreaker.
Yeah, we
you
gotta do
put me back
something that
on here.
people
I'll try
do.
my best.
There's got to be some kind of a winner, right?
I'm hoping nobody gets 7. So at this point, I'm holding on to that 6.
Anything that you want to plug, Chris?
Just my usuals. If you guys aren't already, check me out on YouTube. Obviously, click that subscribe button over there. Instagram, we do a lot of funny content over there. This coming May, we're doing Bottle Kill Month. I feel like it's a good time to those bottles that you're holding on to that have 2 sips or less in it. Let's finish those off, make some room on the shelf. So we're going to do some good giveaways for Bottle Kill Month. And as I said, we got some good picks coming up, both with Hello Again Whiskey Friends and Dusty Dan that are in the chat, and myself with the Sagamore pick. So Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, it's a lot of similar content across all 3. So if you follow one, I appreciate it.
There you go. Yeah, keep up the good content, dude. Again, you're an original. I enjoy watching you. Just keep up the good shit, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on tonight. This was a lot of fun. I'll be honest with you. This was
coming
great.
on. I know it was kind of hectic with work and whatnot, but I appreciate you being here. To everybody else that hung out with us, I appreciate you hanging out. A lot of other things that are going on, so I appreciate you hanging out with us, having a pour or two. So cheers. Thanks for watching. Stay jerky.